this is kind of a silly little video. This is Grandma Carla, and I am here because I'm also a tutor for a very special young man whose name is Chase. And Chase and I have been studying about the Roman Republic becoming the Roman Empire. And so I decided to make this little video for Chase so that he could see how he could play act some of the scenes in the material that we studied to make it more interesting and maybe save him having to write some notes. So we're talking about the big question. How did Julius Caesar transform the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire, or transform Rome from a republic to an empire, was the way the book stated the question. And I think Chase is finding these note-taking exercises fairly tedious. So I decided to take some of the notes that we made today and make 3 short little clips to maybe help him understand how to internalize the material, maybe without taking as many notes. Okay, so one of the first things that the video we watched today was telling us was that many people thought that Julius Caesar was too ambitious, and they described in the video what a democratic republic was. Okay, so in a democratic republic, they specified 3 things. Okay, they said that disagreement was part of a democracy, and that one person didn't have power, but that and did not make all the decisions, but then elected representatives would make the decisions together. And they didn't always agree, okay, and that in the Roman Republic, they did not always agree. There was a lot of quarreling and bickering. So they don't all have to agree, but they have to take a course of action together. So they don't all agree at all, but they agree on a course of action that is going to be beneficial for all. So here we're going to make a little bitty video to demonstrate a republic and the representatives bickering but still finally agreeing to a course of action together. This is a democratic republic. Here is another representative. I'm representing myself, and my representative is representing her thoughts, which are not like mine. I would like spaghetti for lunch. Well, I don't want spaghetti for lunch. I want bologna sandwiches for lunch. Well, I don't like bologna sandwiches. Well, I don't like spaghetti. Well, I think that spaghetti is best for our country to eat. Well, I don't. I think we should all have bologna sandwiches. Well, we need to agree on something. Can we agree that it's time to eat lunch? I guess we can agree that it's time to eat lunch. We should go feed the people lunch. I agree. Okay, so in my little skit, you could see that we disagreed, but then we finally agreed on eating lunch. Okay, that we should feed the people some lunch. So that's very much sometimes what happens in a republic. This one might also be something that happens in a republic. Well, we can't agree on what we're going to eat, but could we agree that we need to have some sort of vegetable with our lunch? I'm going to eat spaghetti and you're going to have bologna sandwiches. But shouldn't we have some sort of a vegetable? Well, vegetables are good for us to eat. I'm going to eat 50% vegetables. Yuck! I don't think we need 50% vegetables. I think 30% vegetables is enough. Well, we've got to make a decision. 30% vegetables. 50% vegetables, 30% vegetables. How about it if we agree on 40% vegetables? Okay. Okay, so Chase, that's my little skit on the Democratic Republic being a place where there's arguments and there's disagreements, but they have to come to decisions. They have to make decisions every day, and they have to compromise on those decisions so that the government can move forward and continue to operate. So that's very much what a republic does. Not necessarily about spaghetti and bologna sandwiches, but that's what kind of compromise is going on in a republic. Now, later on, we talked about a dictatorship. Okay, and a dictatorship was when one party rises to power, and it's not usually someone who's born to power like a king or someone who's elected to power like a president, but a dictator usually seizes power in some way and then rules that government with an iron fist. In other words, they don't have any of this disagreement going on and this compromise going on. The dictator makes all the decisions. So in our story about the Roman Republic, we talked about two senators. One was Cicero, who was a very powerful senator, and one was Catiline, who had word had gotten to Cicero that Catiline had planned to overthrow the government. Okay, so many of the senators were bickering and fussing with each other because they couldn't make decisions together. And remember that the Senate had become so much, the patricians had taken back over the Senate. The Senate had been patricians all the time, but they had a House of Representatives that was plebeian. But now the patricians were ruling everything, and they were beginning to get a little power hungry. So they were fighting among themselves, not necessarily for what was good for the country, but what was going to be better for them. They were fighting for power. And remember, while we were working together, I tried to have you pretend that you were a plebeian and I was a patrician. And so we did something like this. Okay, so this is you, Chase. I know that's not very flattering, but my mother made this dolly for me when I was very young. Actually, I used to wear this dress, but she took the dress when I outgrew it, and she made this little dolly. So I love my little dolly, and you're the dolly. Okay, so we acted this out while we were in our little session this morning. Could I please have some land so that I can grow a garden and feed my family? I can't find a job anymore because you have so many slaves and you are not needing me to work for you anymore. Would you please give me some land so that I can grow a garden for my family? And I am the patrician, and I care only about myself. No, you can't have any of my land. I'm not using my land right now for much of anything, but you can't have any because I want it all. So remember, Chase, I asked you then, how did that make you feel? I'm kind of angry, actually. I want to go hit a door. Well, I am shocked. So, remember, all of the senators are fighting amongst themselves, and we started to have factions. And Marius was a guy we discussed today, and Marius felt sorry for the plebeians. And Sulla was another guy we talked about, and he felt sorry for the patricians. He was all for the patricians, the rich guys. But Marius he was sympathetic to the poor guys. All right. So he goes around, dear Marius, and he goes knocking on all these doors. And he goes knocking on the door, and out comes Chase. And he says, I'm Marius, and I want to lead a war against the patricians because I think the plebeians need more rights. And Marius, who just got told by the patrician that he couldn't have some of his land, he's kind of mad. He says, I want to join your army. And Marius says, well, sure, can you fight? And he says, I have a helmet and I have a sword. So now I'm going to pretend that I'm Chase for a minute, and I'm joining Marius's army. And here is my sword. My son Daniel made this sword. He thought it was really, really cool. And I still have this sword because I will never get rid of it because it says Daniel's awesome sword. And I've got my helmet. And this used to be my daddy's helmet. And my daddy was a fighter pilot back in the day. Now my daddy's 88 years old and he doesn't get in airplanes anymore, but he gave me his helmet. And I'm ready to go do battle with Marius. Well, while Marius is gathering his battle and his army together, well, so was Sulla. And Sulla was the guy that was fighting for all the rich guys who are called the patricians. And Marius is making his army of the poor farmers like Chase, who lost their farm and have no money and want to just build a garden to feed their family. And so we have Sulla, so I'll be Sulla, and here is Marius. And Marius is the army captain for the plebeians, and I, Sulla, am the army captain for the patricians. And guess what? I win. And I defeat, I defeat the Marius's army, and I make myself a dictator. Oops. Let me get my sword. I make myself a dictator. And now I rule the people without even asking them what they want. I don't care whether they want spaghetti or bologna sandwiches. They're going to eat exactly what I tell them to eat because I'm the dictator. So that's where we left off our history story today, Chase. I hope you enjoyed this little reenactment. And now I challenge you to make some little skits and plays to demonstrate that you understand the concepts that are in your history book. And I guarantee if you will do it, you will enjoy your history more, and you're going to have a lot more fun doing your history. And I think you're going to learn and retain a lot more of the information. I had so much fun doing this that I might end up doing more of these little videos just to help illustrate some history, because a lot of you are doing history at home right now. It's a nice thought. This is Grandma Carla, and I love you.